Hi everyone. So I recently got my Moto Edge 40. I don't review Moto devices anymore because the resale value is really bad. So I always end up selling them in a really low price. But this phone has generated a lot of hype. So I wanted to know like if anything has changed. And after using this for one day, I can say it's not that simple. I've realized that everything that seems like a plus point has a downside to it as well. For example, the design, it's thin and light, but because of the curve on both sides, I wouldn't say it's the most comfortable phone to hold. The side frame is also so thin that it feels sharp sometimes. So I got this blue variant because the vegan leather was sold out, and I think it looks way better in person and even feels way better. I also like that Motorola is providing this plastic case because it's really hard to find good accessories for Motorola phones, and you will need a case because it's very slim and slippery. There is a camera bump as well because of that slim design, and it will wobble on the table, and it will also interfere with wireless charging depending upon what kind of charger you have. So I have kind of mixed feeling about this phone. I like it looks premium, but I feel like it should be less curved from both of the sides, so it would have been a little bit more secure to handle this phone. Which remind me about the curved screen. For so many people, it will be a better thing, and I agree it does look great from front. The bezel makes it look more premium phone for its price, but for practical standpoint, the curved screen are not the best when it comes to accidental touches and the responsiveness sometimes. You can increase the edge sensitivity, but you will face more accidental touches. But that touch response or accidental touches is not the biggest problem. It is really hard to find a tempered glass for a curved screen, and for this phone you will definitely need it. It doesn't have that Gorilla Glass protection and it can easily scratch, so like I think that makes it a little harder to use this phone. The display on the other hand is pretty good. It is not color accurate, but it doesn't have any sort of tint issues. It is a bright panel and the HDR looks good on this phone. Netflix still doesn't support HDR, but YouTube does. But so far, no complaints from the panel. The outdoor visibility has been great as well. It is really nice to watch content on this phone, and the other reason is going to be that stereo speaker. This also supports Dolby Atmos, which you cannot turn off. But I think for the price, this is the best stereo system you can find on a phone. There are some things that I do not like about this phone, and the first thing is the haptic motor. I don't know why reviewers said it is a good haptic feedback. It's not. It feels like the strings are colliding. So I did not enjoy that at all. Also, the fingerprint position is quite low. I would like it to be a little bit higher, but like it works fine, so that's a good thing. The other problem is the proximity sensor. I think it works, but it's kind of jerky, so it like switch very fast. It's not really smooth like any other phone in this price range. But there are some things where I feel Motorola did a good job. I mean, you get NFC, which is missing in a lot of phone in this price range, and I think it is really important for cashless payments. The cellular reception on this phone is really good as well. I did not face any sort of call drops. The 5G speeds are really good, so I don't have any problem with call reception. There is wireless charging on this phone that is 15 watt, and also you get IP68 water resistance. You also get 68-watt turbo charging and the turbocharger in the box, which usually takes 48 minutes to fully charge this 4400 mAh battery. And I'd say the battery life is good so far. No standby drain or high drain on 5G, but I will cover that in my full review. Performance has been good but not great, and I don't think it's because of the processor itself. So I think that auto refresh rate from 120 to 60 Hz is not very well tuned. As you can see, when I was playing YouTube video and I'm trying to go to home screen, you will see some slight of jerk. But when I switch it to 144 Hz, I don't see that problem. So I think Motorola needs to work on that refresh rate, as this is not a LTP or display, so that variation might not be working in Motorola's favor. I did not face any sort of heating issue on this phone. The only time it got warm when I was setting up the phone or I used the camera. But it was very normal. I was using it under sunlight on 5G. So I think in terms of thermal management and throttling, it is a very good phone for the price. It has been hit or miss for Motorola phones in terms of software updates. I mean, it is the most clean software experience you can get after Pixel with little to no bugs. But if there is any sort of bug, you have to wait for a long time to get that fixed. Motorola is not known for faster updates. You can see Android 13 is still rolling out for their premium phone from last year, where Android 14 is right around the corner. So if you are someone who wants faster update, I don't think this phone is going to be for you. I know they're promising 2 years of software update and 3 years of security patches, but I think it is going to be really slow. And I know maybe you are someone who does not care about the faster software update, but there are three things that are really important when you need from a phone when it comes to software updates: the bug fixes, the security patches, and the camera improvements. Which brings me to the another weak point of Motorola phones, and that is going to be the camera. And I think it is kind of similar story here. Let's start with the video first. So this is the 4K recording from the rear camera, and as I'm walking from a bit dark side to a natural light, you can see how it performs and how it changes color. You can also see the stabilization. The audio is coming from the phone itself, and you can see HDR here. You can also say hi to Google. She's sleeping. This is the camera recording from the front camera in 4K. So if I turn off the stabilization, it'll give me a wider point of view. But with stabilization, this is how it's going to look. As you can see, the HDR, it's not the best, but it's okay. She's sleeping. And I'm gonna walk a little bit so you can see how the stabilization works. I can see a bit of jitter in the front camera, and I'm going in a bit dark, and I think the front camera performance is not very good when it comes to low light. I think the photos have been improved. The HDR is not the best. As you can see, the green outside looks a bit weird, but when I take a picture of green itself, they are more natural. So I think HDR is a bit on aggressive side. Also, the wide angle camera is not as great as the main camera, which is usually the case with every phone, but here I think the HDR performance is not also great with wide camera. Otherwise, I think the new 50 megapixel camera has a little bit more details from the previous generation as well. Also, you can see the natural depth as well because of that f1.4, which also helps with the night shot as well. As you can see, the lights are really good, the colors are good, and if I go really dark, I can also see details just because of that aperture. But I still think it lacks processing, and it's not very consistent. The skin color is okay, it's not even close to like Google natural colors, but I think it's still better than iPhone. The front camera, I think it's okay. It can take some good details if you change the setting from standard to high, but there is a lot of noise there. So, what are my impression of this phone so far? I think it's a very good phone for a certain amount of audience which can take care of this phone, because I think this phone is quite fragile. They do not care about the faster updates, or they do not care about the camera as much. They just want a premium phone with curved display, faster charging, wireless charging, IP68 rating. So there are very good things about this phone, but I think Motorola could have went other ways where they have created a better build phone in terms of the front glass, or at least given a screen guard on this phone. And the camera processing could have been better for this price as well. So let me know, what do you think about this phone? Do you think it is a very good phone for the price range? If you have any question you want me to answer in the full review, you can ask in the comment box, or you can just follow me on Twitter. My name is Rohit. I'll see you next one. Till then.